Hello, and welcome to the Astrology Show podcast with astrologer Shelley Overton.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the August 25th, 2022 edition of the Astrology Show podcast. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. I want to welcome you back for another week of looking at astrology. Yay! Okay, so the thing that we're noticing mostly this week is the big Uranus retrograde, which happened yesterday. And let's just look and see what time that happened. It was at 9:54 a.m. Eastern and 6:54 a.m. Pacific. So Uranus, we talked about that a bit last week. And I think when we go through it, it just seems much more significant. And you see what can actually happen when that shift happens. And so a number of things. First off, I recall seeing major, interesting, beautiful photos of Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, that were taken with the Webb telescope. The Webb telescope. Okay, there we go. This thing right here. Let's get it. That. So they're super clear, and I'll try and remember to post a picture right here of the shots that they're getting, but they're pretty amazing. And then I had a friend send me photos up in Colorado of kind of a light anomaly that happened at the Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. So I'm going to see if I get permission to show that picture. I'll show it here. Let's see right here. And it's pretty phenomenal with the light reflecting into a form that kind of looks like an angel. And what else? So all these phenomena can, well, of course, Jupiter's not a phenomenon unless you think photography is, because I think photography is. But, you know, we see these amazing events happen. And, you know, we've got this incredible shift, and it's an energetic shift. It's electrical and vibrational and intellectual and scientific. So all these things come together and give us a clarity. We've had storms. I thought I was going to get a storm by now. It was black sky when I got home, and nothing's hit so far, but it is supposed to rain later today. I've been getting storms like every day here in Orlando. There was an intense lightning storm last week. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but definitely lightning is part of the electricity of Uranus. And there were like 5 different lightning strikes across the sky all at one time. And it just went cloud to cloud and lit up the whole sky. It was quite phenomenal. So that kind of thing can happen. And how does that translate into our daily lives? Well, I help my parents with their electronics. They're always kind of getting into trouble with their electronics. So, and they're in their early 80s. And there were weird things happening a few days ago where my dad claims he didn't touch a button and the TV just stopped, the sound stopped. So I basically told him, turn off the TV for an hour and it'll be okay when you turn it back on. And that's what happened. So if I said this story last week, I apologize, but it just amuses me because that is the nature of Uranus. And I tell my parents, and I tell anyone who listens, Age of Aquarius, very strong Uranian energy, Uranus retrograde, Uranus direct. Anytime Uranus changes signs or changes direction, you're going to get these incredible anomalies with electronics and technology or energy. So the third thing that we're having in science is there are many sunspots happening right now, and they're flares, like solar flares. And what happens is the energy builds up and then shoots out and it comes towards Earth. And because it's a magnetic energy, it can push our magnetic field around. And our magnetic field is basically aurora borealis. And what happens is it goes farther down on the Earth. And so we're expecting to see the northern lights as far down as Iowa this coming week. So that all is part of this energy that we see with the electrical influence of Uranus coming in. Okay, let's just look at the sky, look at the chart, see what we have. So not only did Uranus go retrograde, we also have a grand trine in, well, it kind of jumps across signs. So Mars at 3 degrees Gemini is trining Mercury at 29 Virgo. It goes into Libra tonight, which puts it in an air sign as well. And then Pluto rounds out the last part of the triangle, which, can you even say that? It finishes off the corner of the triangle at 26 Capricorn. So you have Mercury right now, today in this chart, is at 29 Virgo, but it will be going to 0 Libra. And then that means that it's 120 degrees away from Mars, and then again trining Pluto. So the energy is, if you know trines, trines are considered to be good generally when you learn astrology, but they can bring tears. And when you have 3 of them between planets, that's pretty intense energy. And it focuses. So what I do is I look at the slowest moving planet, which is Pluto, and the other planets, Mars, which is more quickly moving, but not as quick as Mercury. And so you kind of have a hierarchy of energy. That is, Pluto is the major life-changing planet. He will tell you when you need to change how you perceive something, but if you're not doing it, he will gradually increase the intensity until you get the message. And ultimately, the message hits when he goes into a new sign, because then he shifts the energy from the old energy to the new energy. And that happens March 23rd of next year. And that is Pluto in Aquarius. And right now, we have this energy of Pluto. He's kind of a warrior, God warrior energy, trining Mars. So there is some puffery, some ego and ambition coming in with this. There's friction on some level, or more likely there's an event that will happen. So Mars and Gemini can be duplicitous, but can also be very bubbly and conversational and analytical. But in its lower form, it is not honest. And so if the negative energies in the lower form of Gemini come out, it won't feel good to a Pluto and Capricorn person, because they are very literal and they are very sincere, and they want honest, sincere communication. So Mars in Gemini is taking action on the ideas behind the Gemini energy. So chances are Mars in Gemini and Pluto, well, Pluto in Capricorn, because it's not really a trine sign, a trine energy, so it's not an earth energy, or excuse me, Pluto is not an air energy. Mars isn't an air energy right now. Mercury goes into an air energy when this gets posted. So they're in cooperation, but Pluto right now in the last degrees of Capricorn is not cooperative and really wants things to be honest and forthright and truthful. While this is a trine energy, it's actually also kind of a friction energy, and not very comfortable one at that. So it could cause miscommunications. Matter of fact, just expect it's going to be miscommunications, because rounding out the top part of this angle is Mercury ruling communications. And at n degrees of Virgo, the energy is extremely worrisome, in a sense of we get anxiety, we get worry, we start to get on edge, we start to want to analyze, or not start to, we analyze, we want things to move along quickly, we have zero patience for anyone, and that can get us into trouble. So having Mars action, Pluto major life change, and Mercury the unexpected or inconsistent or analytical to the point of distraction is not good for keeping out of trouble. And the trouble we're looking at right now is probably either verbal, communicative, or action based in such things as transportation. So yes, this is a trine that is apparent because of the angles, but Mars has moved past Pluto. Mercury already trined Pluto and is now moving past as well, but yet it is still in the sky. So we will feel the effects, but it will be fading in energy. We have the moon at 15 degrees Leo, which is a world point. So there is some emotionalism going on right now. Venus just touched on that world point. And so Venus and the moon are really joining to feel more about children and have a connection to children. have a connection to our own creative energy, to all the things that are Leonine, which are being in the spotlight, having a dramatic personality, wanting to connect to friends, wanting to connect and relate to people, being in charge, holding court, as my father so often does at Panera. Um, and Venus is desire. So this is the desire to have children, or desire for romance, or, possibly fertility. Just be very careful, because, you can procreate under this energy. Now, though, we've got the sun in Virgo, which actually at 2 degrees Virgo really can culminate an energy of like fertility. So if you, under that fire energy of Leo, decide to make love, right after the sun, the sense of self, the ego, goes in, and also sun kind of brings forth energy, goes into Virgo, that can create children, because it releases the energy of Leo. And once you release something, once you let go of something, it can come into your realm. So just be careful about that. Mercury in Virgo at 29 is really culminating the energy of analysis, the energy of teaching, the energy of education. So this is for teachers and students. I generally look at Virgo as kind of like the teacher energy, the teacher vibe, or an administrative energy and vibe. So, it could be paperwork being culminated and readied for an event. And it is going to bring in the energy of education. I mean, right now it's interesting because my daughter found this app, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Yik Yak, and it's a little conversational communication app that you can talk with people within a 5-mile radius, and you can do it anonymously. So you can make comments, and you get thumbs up or thumbs down, or arrow up, arrow down. And if you get like 5 down arrows, it's removed immediately. And it's kind of an in the moment, ongoing conversation starter, where you don't have to really worry about people knowing who you are. And so it's really big on the campus she's on. So all the students are getting onto this app because they're new to the college, and they're all looking for people to meet. My son included. He just moved out into his apartment with my daughter. And so they're looking for friends. They're looking for connections. And it's a really great app for that. But, it's really pretty intense at times. People put up anything they want, and it can get pretty raunchy. So having Mercury in late degrees of Virgo, then moving into Libra, right now the conversation is more analytical and provocative. Going into Libra, Mercury is going to bring communication that's loving based. It's Venus rules Libra, so it answers to Venus. Venus in Leo, so it's going to go back to that romantic side and being Libra. So Leo and Libra both are in positive aspect by 60 degrees, and so they are sextile. And that means that Mercury will be moving into a sign that will start to cooperate more with the energy of Venus, as opposed to just being in the sign next to Leo, which analogous signs can be okay with each other, but sextile signs are much better. And so having those, like Venus and Mercury in positive aspect, is going to bring better communication around love and money. Right now, money is coming from risk taking, which includes gambling. Leo does rule the sign of gambling. So if you're addicted to gambling, you may have planets in Pisces or Leo, or a combination. And so right now, Neptune, the idealist, is in its own sign of Pisces. And that means at 24 degrees, it is going to be moving, well, Venus is moving into an inconjunct energy to Neptune. And so Venus is desire, Neptune is desire intensified, the dream desire. So it's a really high octave of Venus. Having these two entities not in a cooperative energy, basically 150 degrees apart, which means they aren't seeing eye to eye, is going to probably make it difficult for women getting along. That being said, today it's probably going to be a moot point by the time this gets posted, but the moon joins Venus in Leo today, which is a cooperative energy, potentially. And then when Venus inconjuncts Neptune, it's more watery, more emotional. This is a point when you might get your period. This is where you can cry, maybe drink wine. Liquids are always welcome under this energy. But yeah, it's gonna, liquids, I shouldn't say that, because if it's liquid in the home, like overflowing toilets, not so welcome, but be careful and cautious about this energy. And we have Saturn at 21 Aquarius, almost directly opposing Venus. And in the next 4 days, Venus will pretty much move into an opposition to Saturn. And that means that she is going to be struggling with the lack of emotionalism, because in Leo, she's extremely emotional, extremely dramatic about her emotions. And she wants everybody to know what she's feeling. Saturn is a restrictive energy anyway. And in Aquarius, the sign that removes emotion from most things and removes the water from things, is battling out for control against fiery energy of Venus in Leo. Venus in Leo opposite an air energy. Air stokes fire. So there's going to be probably some kind of tete-a-tete or difficulty as Venus gets closer to that exact opposition. In relationships, it could really blow something up, especially after Mars Uranus North Node a couple weeks ago really had a say in love, had some energy to contribute to awakening and clarifying our love and relationship energy, but as well as money and desire and values. Saturn, the structure of our lives and structure of organizations and our mental state. In Aquarius, it is technical, but it is analytical and restrictive in that sense. Venus is passionate where she's at, and Saturn in Aquarius has antipathy. So not really a nice energy when Venus gets opposite Saturn, but it could definitely bring a lot of clarity. And it was funny because the other day I had some documents on the floor near my bed, and I fumbled my tea next to the bed, and I literally spilled the tea on these documents. So I'm expecting to potentially find out some new information that I didn't have before, or maybe the specific idea behind the documents will come out more in a larger, broader realm, and information will be had, because the tea was spilled on the documents, quite literally. So it's just an interesting thing I noticed. And definitely lately, symbolism, which is a Mercury thing, is being heightened. I don't know if you've noticed, but definitely there have been more heightened spirit messages out in the universe. I mean, I was literally going to meet a friend and had a connection to another person, and I had a charm that was on my purse fall off right before I met them. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh, this is not going to go the way I thought. Something's going to happen with this other person. And sure enough, something had changed with the other person, and I was told about it. So a lot of these kind of symbols are really starting to get our attention. Numerology might get your attention under Mercury. So be aware that this coming week, that's definitely going to be coming in. Mars and Gemini can also bring in symbolism and like any kind of messaging from higher sources, but also taking action, taking directed, specific action on an idea, because Mercury goes into the air sign of Libra, which is Venus ruled, but very much about ideas on love. And then Mars is in Gemini, which is kind of a Casanova energy. Look for a lot more flirtation, a lot more opportunities in love in the near future. And I would say this is probably going to last a while. I would venture to say up to maybe 5 weeks, because we are going to have, once Mercury gets to 8 degrees of Libra, it will retrograde, and we're going to have all of those degrees. I think it's like 21 Gemini. So 8 degrees Gemini through 21 Gemini. And that's a lot of degrees and a long time in a sign. So we're going to see this energy really even further, 24 degrees. And oh, no, I take it back. Let's see, where is it? 8 degrees of Mercury in Libra, retrograding back to 24 Virgo. So we're going to see a lot of energy, because Libra is about intellect, being an air sign, and Virgo is about intellect because it's ruled by Mercury. And yet it is an earth sign, so it's about bringing the understanding of intellect down to the earth, to material world. And then Mars, being in Gemini, is squaring the sun currently. Angels are coming in because my nose itches so much. Okay, Mars in Gemini is going to be squaring Venus too when she goes into Virgo, which is about 10, I would say 10 days away. She runs very close to a degree a day, maybe a little bit over. And so she isn't quite as fast as Mercury, but she still keeps pace pretty well. So I'm looking to see her in a new sign pretty close to a couple weeks. Venus goes into Virgo on September 6th. So she is there pretty close to about 2 weeks. So yeah, like 13 degrees. And let me see, 30 days, 31. So that's 6 days and so 12 days. So yeah, she's moving just about a degree a day. And when she gets into Virgo, she's going to be much more persnickety, much more meticulous. She's definitely channeling her feminine teacher energy, and she's not going to suffer fools. She's very analytical and left brain. And so she's going to give you a smackdown if you get out of line, I would say. She'll let you know if you're wrong. She is a perfectionist of the zodiac, being in Virgo. Virgo is the perfectionist. Okay, Jupiter right now is 7 degrees of Aries, and as Mercury moves along, it'll be moving closer to an opposition to Jupiter. And Jupiter is 7, like I said, so when Mercury gets to about 7, there's an opposition that's about a week away, right as Mercury gets ready for a retrograde period. And so there's going to be an interesting day then. Uranus is at 18 degrees squaring Venus over the course of this weekend. So that is friction between women. And well, definitely the ruler of Taurus is Venus, squaring Taurus in its own sign. So Uranus is squaring the planet it answers to. So lots of intensity because the North Node is still only 2 degrees away from Uranus. And Uranus is moving retrograde towards the North Node. So Venus is moving away from that energy, which can mean friction in relationships where a woman is pulling back energy, or there is a large kind of explosive energy around the connection of what is the situation and what the woman is going through, what the desire is. There's also some extra added energy with the moon at 15 Leo joining up with Venus. And let me see what that is, when that is. Let's just see when that is. Moon and Venus conjunct at 7:50 p.m. on Thursday, the 25th Eastern. And good times. So that I know exactly how that's going to play in my life. Don't look into that. Anyway, yeah, coming in hot and going to be sticking around for a while. It's a significant energy with the moon at a world point. So this is something around women and changing course or having a say. Uranus is also a collective energy, so it's much more global and group. So look for something to happen Thursday night over Thursday into Friday with this energy. Yeah, and so I'm just going to give you where the moons are in the upcoming energies. We've got Friday, moon is in Leo until 8:25 p.m. when it enters Virgo. And then Venus squares Uranus on Friday night overnight at 9:34 p.m. Pacific, 12:34 a.m. Eastern. And that would be the 27th. So Venus squaring Uranus is a perfection of this energy I just got done telling you about. So over the course of Friday, Saturday, I would say be prepared for some very large news associated with women. I've even got previous notes on the date, Venus in the news with negative stories. It's uncomfortable energy. And yeah, so also lightning and, you know, all the earth energy, Uranus moving through the earth energy. Then the new moon is in Virgo on Saturday at, let's see what time, 4:17 a.m. Eastern, 1:17 a.m. Pacific. So early in the morning, we've got a conjunction of the sun and the moon. and it's going to be electrical, especially since the new moon is in Virgo, 4 degrees, landing directly on my Mercury. So that'll be something. And then Sunday, the 28th, we have some oppositions of Venus to Saturn, of Moon to Neptune. And so it really is quicker moving personal relationships in Leo and Virgo with Venus and Moon. And then the slower moving, grounded in, trying to trigger change planets of Saturn and Aquarius and Neptune and Pisces. That is emotional. It is change personified. We start out, like I said, with that new moon in Virgo and a conjunction of the sun and moon in Virgo. We have the square of the moon and Mars. We have a square of Venus and Uranus. And so you can guarantee that there is going to be some kind of fireworks with relationships, shaking them up this weekend. And then Venus opposite Saturn and Moon opposite Neptune, ideals and dreams. So Saturn is restriction, Venus is love, and Mercury energy around Moon in Virgo, and opposite Neptune and Pisces, dreamy and visionary. So it's going to be probably a volatile weekend. And then the moon enters Libra on Monday and then joins with Mercury. So there's going to be some kind of communication and conversation going on. And then a trine to Mars. And with the moon in Libra and Mars in Gemini, it seems like a cooperative energy, but it can also create friction or a sad situation for someone in a relationship. Mars in Gemini is flirtatious and dualistic. So Mars in Gemini means there's another person. Moon in Libra means needing balance, but can also triangulate energy. So it is really a strong energy Monday about triangles in love or polygamy, but that's not as common. We'll just say triangles. Tuesday, we have Sun in Virgo in conjunct to Jupiter in Aries. Again, there's friction because Jupiter's retrograde, and Jupiter in Aries wants to just act brashly and ambitiously. And Sun in Virgo is saying, no, we have to cross the T's and dot the I's. You're not getting it. And they don't cooperate. But that's early in the morning. If you get up early at 6:09 a.m., followed the rest of the day by aspects to the moon in Libra. And it's an opposition of Chiron. It's in conjunct to Uranus and Taurus, and a trine with Saturn and Aquarius. And it finishes off the day with a sextile to Venus and Leo. So that's a good thing, though. The 30th, finishing off with a sextile to Venus and Leo, means there is cooperation on some level about desire and about home life coming in. If there is triangulation going on, if triangles in romance, 3 people coming in Monday and Tuesday, it might be resolved somehow through the passion of Venus in Leo. And basically, I'm too good, you better get your crap together. Wednesday, continuation of that same energy, and then the moon in conjunct Neptune at 3:08 a.m. and squares Pluto at 6:43 a.m. and then enters Scorpio at 1:11 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern, with 10:11 a.m. Pacific on Wednesday, followed by a moon in conjunct Gemini, Mars, and an in conjunct to Jupiter, Aries. So when the in conjuncts happen, of course, Scorpio is very passionate. Scorpio is a warrior, and Mars is in Gemini. Mars is also a warrior and a fighter. So that could be some fighting energy late in the evening on Wednesday, and then an in conjunct to Jupiter, which is transformative energy. Thursday of next week, busy day with the moon. We've got moon in Scorpio in conjunct Mars in Gemini, 1:16 a.m. Eastern. And so more friction that kind of goes over the evening from one day to the next. Same with the moon in conjunct to Jupiter. Those two aspects cross over the time zones overnight. And then Mars in Gemini sextiles Jupiter. So those two are in cahoots, talking to the moon, and they're fighting the moon. But Mars and Jupiter are very masculine energy on Thursday of next week, and they are getting their way, basically. So it can be transportation, travel, and lots of travel energy coming up Thursday of next week, and expansion. Then we have moon in conjunct Chiron, so it's going to be a wounding of some sort around war or battles. Also, Ukraine could feel this energy, especially because the moon opposes Uranus at 11:06 p.m. Thursday of next week. Probably more casualties, probably heightened fights. And then Friday of next week, Moon enters Sagittarius in the evening, and we'll get into that next week. So that's pretty much what I have for you right now. If you're Aries or Taurus, Leo, late Virgo, early Libra, Aquarius, and Capricorn, those signs are where the majority of the energy is affecting us currently. And so you're going through a lot of friction, a lot of changes, needing to seek out higher understanding of a deeper energy in your life. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to wrap up and thank you very much for watching the podcast. And please do share, comment, like, subscribe below, and we'll see you next week for some more juicy information. Take care. Horoscope, the web, if, yeah.
Hey, this is Shelley. I wanted to give you a heads up that there are a lot of new art prints at shelleyoverton.com. So go over there and check them out. SHELLEYOVERTON.com. Thanks.
To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.